Hard to do in New Hampshire. Okay, so amidst all of this drama, Carlin...
By the way, groomers is trending as we speak.
Great.
So you know.
Carlin is moving away from Republicans.
No.
She's already moved away.
Again, Katie, it was not within all this drama. I joined the Republican Party for 15 fucking minutes to troll Lauren Witzke, which I have talked about several times online. I left the Republican Party in April of 2021. The incident that you are talking about happened... When the fuck did that happen? December. The incident that you are talking about happened in December of 2021. That is May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. 8 months. 8 months after I had joined the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire. So no, you are patently incorrect in your timeline, which you know because I emailed you the timeline. I laid out the timeline for you, Katie. I told you I joined the Libertarian Party in April of 2021. You are talking about an event that happened in December of 2021. All of this is easily verifiable if you just take a cursory glance at my social media. So no, I was not moving away from the Republican Party at this time. I had left a long time ago, and I only joined them to troll Lauren Witzke.
Away from the Democrats. She's leaving the Republicans. She's walking away from the walk away, and she's discovering libertarianism.
April.
And there was a hint that she was moving in this direction all the way back in April 2021 when she tweeted.
There was a hint, Katie. There was a hint. You don't say. You don't say. You don't say that when I emailed you, there was a hint. It was a theory. A theory. You don't say that when I emailed you and I said that I joined I started learning about the Mises Caucus in March of 2021. Not long after that, I had Mises Caucus recruiters, and they told me that about what the Mises Caucus was, and then I joined them. Katie, you don't say. You don't. Is this the Katie? Is the email that I sent you the literal clue that I joined the Libertarian Party in April of 2021, and you're talking about December of 2021, which is an 8-month fucking difference? Is this what clued you in? Unfucking believable. Like, truly unbelievable.
Guys, I'm telling you that if you're not paying attention to what the Mises Caucus is trying to do to make the Libertarian Party suck significantly less, you need to be. This is going to be a factor leading up to 2024. They're going to make noise, and I think in a good way. So at the end of that year, this is December 2021, she tweets a thing about Holocaust victims choosing to be murdered. And she announces that she's been canceled by the woke right. And then the next month, she announces that she's running for governor of New Hampshire and has been endorsed by the state Libertarian Party.
That's not what happened at all. That's not what happened at all. I joined the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire in April of 2021. I got involved in the Libertarian Party in New Hampshire. We started doing lots of stuff together. We started talking about which candidates do we run to get ballot access. We decided to run. Well, we were originally going to run. So we thought for sure that Chris Sununu was going to run for Senate. And so we decided to run Jeremy Kauffman and we spent months fucking cajoling Jeremy into running for Senate because he was really unsure about it. But we, like a whole bunch of us, spent months cajoling him to run for Senate. And he finally agreed. And I always knew that he would. Like, I mean, it's just too good of an opportunity. And so we as a party and as like the people that were involved in getting Jeremy to run basically decided that we wanted to put all resources behind him. Now, at the same time, there's a guy in the party. So we were also talking about potentially running me for governor. And basically what I said is that I would run for governor if it involved me doing absolutely nothing. But like, if they just needed a name to be able to put on the ballot, to be able to say that they were running someone for governor, I would do it, and I would be happy to do it as long as it didn't involve like a whole lot of my time, because I just don't have a lot of time to give, to be really honest about it. It's already taken up way more of my time than I wanted it to. But so I said, I'll do it, because one of the reasons that we wanted someone to run for governor was because there was another guy in the party who we kind of thought might try to get nominated for governor, and we really didn't want him to get nominated for governor. So we were like, we need to just put our own candidate in there, and that way we eliminate the possibility that this guy gets himself nominated for governor kind of accidentally. So we thought about that, and actually what happened was we decided not to do it. I actually was not campaigning to run for governor in any way. And Katie, I've talked about this on the internet publicly. This is also something that you actually could have asked me about had you bothered to be a journalist. I wasn't running for governor in any way. We had made the decision that we were going to put all resources into Jeremy, that we had no other, that we didn't want to run any other candidates, and that was just the way it was going to be. And I didn't really care. I didn't care about running for governor. It wasn't something that I was particularly excited about at that time. And so I was like, fine, I don't really care. I'm willing to do it if you need a name, but if we don't want to do it, that's fine too. I want to put all resources and energy into Jeremy's campaign. Well, we get to the state convention and we're doing nominations for candidates. And a guy named Ian Freeman, who's one of the Crypto Six, he gets up and he nominates me for governor. Now, I had never even met Ian in person. I had like tweeted back and forth with him. He's active on Twitter. And he's a good guy, like really, really, really nice guy. Like I really like Ian, has such good energy. I really like him a lot, and his girlfriend Bonnie, I like them a lot. And but he got up and without talking to me, he didn't ask me before he did this. He nominated me for governor. And actually when he did it, I literally screamed, "Oh fuck," or like, "Oh shit," or something like that. And I put my head to my hands and I was like, "Oh God, what do I do now?" And then they asked me, they're like, "Carlin, do you accept the nomination for governor?" And I sat there and I was thinking about it. And my thought process was basically, well, it's just a name on the ballot. I think it would be really ungracious to say no. And I liked the idea of giving people a libertarian choice. And then, so I was sitting there thinking about it, and I didn't answer straight away because, again, I had no idea this was going to happen. No one knew this was going to happen. It was a complete surprise. And then I hear one of my friends, Ash, and Ashley does such a great job. She is like such a fucking warrior. She has been so integral in getting all the petitions signed to get us on, or in managing the process, not in getting them signed because she didn't get them signed, but she's been managing, like inventorying the petitions and everything. She's been working so hard. But Ash, as I had my head down and I was kind of thinking, do I accept this nomination? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? She said, do it. And so I said, yeah, I accept the nomination. But it wasn't something I was actively campaigning for. It wasn't something that I negotiated. It wasn't something that I actively sought out. It was literally like someone nominated me and I felt it would be really ungracious to say no. And then once I accepted, the convention had to vote on me and I had to get 50% of the vote or more to actually be the endorsed candidate. And they did. But I didn't campaign. And again, Katie, this happened 9 months after I joined the Libertarian Party. This was not just Carlin left the Republicans and then the Republicans canceled her over the Hitler tweet. And then the very next month, she's the nominee for governor for the Libertarian Party. That is not what happened. And you didn't even bother to ask for what happened when you emailed me. Carlin, why did you decide to run for governor? Well, I was nominated and I was asked to and I agreed. And then the reason we went forward with it is because it wasn't going to cause any additional workload on the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire, because we ended up petitioning with a multi-candidate form, and we petitioned as a slate, which actually ended up benefiting us because we were able to access party resources that we wouldn't have been able to otherwise access if we weren't running as a slate. So it actually turned out to be a really good beneficial thing. But as you guys see on my website, carlinlovesnewhampshire.com, on my website, I'm not fundraising. I specifically say on my website, go and donate to Jeremy's campaign. We are not putting any resources into my campaign. I have name recognition in New Hampshire. I have helped a lot of people in New Hampshire with the CRT and the school stuff. I've traveled around with a lot of groups. I have a platform already. There is no reason for me to put to go, like, there's no reason for me to take up resources running this campaign when I'm polling at 8% and I'm barely even trying. I'm polling at 8%. We know that because the Democrat polled on my name. But we're putting all the resources into Jeremy's campaign. So, Katie, don't make this seem like it's something that I actively sought, because I didn't seek it. That's not what happened. But you have a very loose relationship with the truth is what we're finding.
Let's take a look at our platform. Okay, so if you go to carlinlovesnh.com, she's running on a platform of putting cameras in classrooms. Honestly, it sounds a little pervy, but I don't think it's a groomer thing. I think it's more about indoctrination, preventing indoctrination.
No, it's about defunding the schools, Katie, which I literally say on my website. It is about defunding the schools. That is what it's about.
Wait, how do you spell her first name? I want to go to this website.
Karlyn, lovesnh.com.
Journalist.
I am Carlin. I'd like your vote to be heard. Okay. Cameras in classrooms to spy on kids.
Yep.
Nope. Teachers.
Defund racist programs.
I think that's anti-white programs he's talking about.
No.
There.
Oh, however,
Katie, I sent you the article I wrote about the term anti-white. You should know that I don't use that term because I literally sent you the article that I wrote on that term saying why I don't use it. So no, I would never call something an anti-white program because I don't use that term, which you know, because I emailed you that article explicitly, provided receipts in the first part of this live stream. On the other one before my power went out.
Across the state, our tax dollars are funding programs based in all caps equity,
right.
A Marxist concept demanding equality of outcomes. As
Yes.
governor, I will defund any state-funded program with equity in the title. Property.
Yeah, this isn't like the Ibram X. Kendi defund racist programs.
No. Property tax optional.
No,
like
it's way better.
It's
way better.
That's a good idea.
I like that too. So, and this is a good one. If you don't like what the schools are doing, you don't have to pay property taxes.
That makes perfect sense, and I don't understand why libertarians haven't been successful leaders. And they're
yeah.
2/3 of our property taxes in New Hampshire go towards funding the schools, and this is actually being suggested in libertarian circles here. This is not an out of the realm thing that I just made up. It's coming from somewhere by people in the state legislature right now, which Katie would know if she bothered to do journalism at all.
Absolutely. And then possibly the best is, of course, putting secession on the ballot.
Fuck yes.
And then I just want to, she's also been campaigning for Jeremy Kauffman.
Oh, okay. So we are actually getting to that point where I'm spending more of my time supporting Jeremy's campaign than I am doing my own. But let's talk about secession for a second. A poll just came out in New Hampshire last week that says that 1/3 of all New Hampshire residents now favor secession. And over 50% of Republicans in New Hampshire favor secession. Why on earth, if I'm running for governor of a state, why on earth wouldn't I campaign on putting secession on the ballot when 1/3 of all of New Hampshire's residents do favor secession? And I'm not campaigning necessarily to secede immediately. I am only campaigning to put it on the ballot and getting a vote. Over 50% of Republicans favor secession, and you think this is an issue I'm going to speak to? Are you shitting me? We have never had a greater need to have this conversation. So, yes, Katie, I do support putting a measure on the ballot to vote on secession. And if you care about democracy, then you should want people to have that choice. Because if they don't want to be a part of the country, it is literally enshrined in the New Hampshire Constitution, Katie, that we have the right to revolution. We have the right to do this. Do you not want people to exercise their rights? I want people to exercise their rights. If the vote says, no, we don't want to secede from the Union, then fine. But it should at least have a vote. Absolutely.
Who you will recall from earlier is the guy who tweeted positively about child labor and John McCain's brain tumor from the New Hampshire Libertarian Party official account.
Yes, he did.
Here's her tweet about that. I feel so blessed to be able to work on Jeremy Kaufman's campaign because I truly learn something from the guy every day. He's like conceptual James level smart.
He is. Jeremy Kaufman is a legitimate genius. Jeremy Kaufman is a very principled person who has ways of explaining concepts that are interesting and creative and make you look at the world in a different way. And I don't always agree with the things that Jeremy says. God knows sometimes I want to strangle Jeremy. Like when he called me a lesbian in front of the entire Porkfest audience. Wanted to strangle him. Absolutely. But Jeremy Kaufman is a legitimate genius. Jeremy Kaufman, I've learned a lot from him. And I am very, very grateful to have been connected with his campaign at all. Although God knows that I haven't done as much as many people. Oh, hi, Carlin. I'm the editorial assistant for Blocked and Reported, who helped with some of the background research on this episode. Interesting to hear your response. Thanks for going into all the detail. If only you had done your fucking job. If only you had done your fucking job. Tracing wood grains. If only you guys had bothered to do any research at all. If only you guys had bothered to ask questions. Then I could have told you that you were elevating a stalker on the internet who has had police reports filed on him in 2 different fucking countries. That he's the one that's obsessed with me, not the one that I'm the one that's obsessed with him. He's the one that's obsessed with me. Could have provided you evidence of all of that. Could have told you what was going on at the Timberland Regional School District with the school covering up for teachers who were sexually molesting students, which you could have easily discovered had you done a bare minimum of a Google search. I could have told you how I got nominated for governor, that I didn't campaign for governor, that it was a complete and total accident. But I embraced it anyway because it was what the party wanted. I could have easily provided you with the video of me getting chased by a Black Lives Matter mob that you claimed didn't exist. I could have done many, 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 many things. And you can tell your boss that I'm going to be making clips of this entire fucking stream and specifically enumerating all of the ways in which she fucked this up. And they're all going to be tagged with Katie Herzog is a liar. Or Katie Herzog is not a journalist. Or Katie Herzog makes shit up. Or Katie Herzog smears people and pretends to be doing journalism. I'm going to come up with all sorts of creative things that we're going to do with your boss's name as a nice little thanks for this gift that she's given me. And then she can scream and cry and call me a bully on the internet. And clutch her pearls while I never. Ask questions next time, dude. Do your fucking job. You only have one.
That's an awesome quote. Wait, what's he running for?
He's running for Senate in New Hampshire.
Okay. He's like conceptual James level smart.
And conceptual James, for people who aren't on Twitter, is James Lindsay.
So someone,
they're not mentioning that Jeremy Kaufman has like 2 businesses. He has Library and Odyssey. They're not talking about everything that Jeremy Kaufman has built, which is incredible. They're not talking about any of that. They're just like, isn't it funny that this guy that says mean tweets she's saying he's a genius? How silly. How silly.
that's his Twitter username. Someone started calling him Jimmy Concepts. I love that. It's such a good nickname.
Okay. So now Carlin she's running for governor and she's campaigning for Kaufman. But meanwhile, all of these feuds are still ongoing. She's still tweeting about Kieran and Carrie Smith and Mike Harlow and all of her other enemies. And
yes, Katie, are you looking at the context in which I'm tweeting at them? Because they are literally doing this shit to me on the internet, reaching out to personal contacts that I have, trying to get everyone in my life to denounce me. There is currently a webinar that I am putting on with Gabrielle Clark that they're trying to skewer and sabotage, even though they should be supporting it. Katie, the point that I'm making, that you really seem to be too dense to process. The point that I am making with continuing to point out exactly and explicitly, oh, you think this came out quite well when I'm blatantly ripping apart every point you made? You think this came out well. This is your idea of journalism. I have repeatedly shot down almost every single thing that you morons have said about me. And if you want receipts, bitch, I am more than happy to provide them. Oh my, what? She called me a horrible name. You think this came out quite well? Someday, Tracing Woodgrains, a person, by the way, who's too cowardly to use their real name online. Someday, Tracing Woodgrains, someone's going to do something like this to you. This is going to come back and bite you. Every single time you do something like this, it is going to come back to bite you. And I cannot wait until you are smeared and then someone says, well, I think that smear was quite well done. I cannot wait for that to happen to you. At least be a man and put your real name on the internet, or a woman. Have some balls, proverbial balls if you're a woman. I have no idea what your gender is. I don't want to assume. Maybe you're a they, a zer. I don't fucking know, and I don't really fucking care. I'm commenting on your obvious cowardice by not even putting your real name on the internet and daring to smear other people. That jackass literally defends schools who cover for teachers molesting students. And he thinks that he's on the right side of history. He thinks covering for child molesters is correct. Well, they also think that covering for people who have legitimate police reports for harassment is correct. Katie, here's the point that I'm making. Oh, this is it. Personally, my favorite part of your response stream was your commentary that she wouldn't read any of your email just before she read it in full. Really, that was your favorite part? My favorite part is when Katie blatantly messed up the timeline of when I joined the Libertarian Party and claimed it was December, when in fact it was April, which is exactly and explicitly what I told her in the email. My favorite part was when Katie didn't even bother to acknowledge that there is no video or photographic evidence that would prove that her position is correct, that I did what the hotel said I did. My favorite part was where Katie didn't even bother to ask the hotel about keycard records, because we all know what those keycard records are going to say, don't we? My favorite part was when you guys covered for schools that are covering up for teachers who are sexually molesting students. My favorite part was when you didn't even bother to research how I got nominated for governor from the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire, and you assumed that I campaigned for that when I didn't. My favorite part was when you reported that I have no friends and drive everyone away, when I somehow managed to get nominated by accident for a statewide office. My favorite part was when you didn't even bother to look at tweets that would debunk exactly what you're saying happened, because they're all public on the internet. My favorite part was when Katie said, well, maybe Carlin has a history of exaggerating, and I just couldn't find any video at all showing that she was actually accosted by a Black Lives Matter mob, even though you could do a simple Google search on my channel, editorial assistant, and find it with no real problems at all. My favorite part is when it became obvious that you're just a smear artist, you're just a propagandist, and that you are an epic fucking coward for not even bothering to use your real name while deigning to tell other people how they should live their lives. Go to bed, coward. It's probably past your bedtime.
Doing almost daily live streams, which means she's more.
I've been doing daily live streams for the entire year, Katie. Carlin's live streaming daily. I have been doing live streams daily for almost an entire fucking year.
More online than even we are. And then now we're going to get to the part where I do a little speculating, because there's a certain brand of person whose politics is just as much about interpersonal relationships and owning their enemies than it is about policy.
Mm-hmm.
People do this. They get dogpiled by liberals and they say, okay, I'm a conservative now. Or they get annoyed by knitters and they say, okay, I'm a Trump voter now. And Carlin strikes me as one of those people. So I asked her about it and she said, no, the reason she's a libertarian is because she used to think that the libertarians were woke, but then she changed her mind after she learned about the Mises Caucus. Here's what she said in an email. I was so happy to hear that there were non-woke libertarians who were explicitly opposed to
Carrie, I just want to note, Katie is specifically leaving out the timing that I told her in that email when I joined the Libertarian Party, because Katie has specifically lied in this stream about when I joined the Libertarian Party. She is specifically leaving out parts of that. Hey, Trace, for your little editorial assistant, like, she's specifically eliminating parts of an email that I sent her that talk about when explicitly I joined the Libertarian Party. And she's doing that because she's fucking with the timeline to make it seem like I just barely joined it. I think this episode came out well, as I am a raging fucking progressive. It's probably what his voice sounds like, too.
identity politics. And lately, she seems to be criticizing conservatives as much as, or even more than, she's liberals.
Wait, lately I'm criticizing conservatives? Are you shitting me? Alex, how long have I been criticizing conservatives overtly? Lately, I've been criticizing conservatives? It just started happening? Katie, I have made shitting on conservatives into an art form. I have been criticizing conservatives probably when I joined the Libertarian Party. Honestly, probably when I left in April of 2021 and I was like, deuces, I'm out. I have since April of 2021, which is over Alex says that I technically started shitting on conservatives in December of 2020. I have made shitting on conservatives into an art form for very aggressively the last year and 3 months. Katie, you follow me on Twitter. This is not a recent thing. This is not new. Anyone who has been following me on Twitter knows that I have made shitting on conservatives into an art form. I am deeply proud of the level to which I shit on conservatives because they damn well deserve it for being feckless and cowards and do nothing and just whine and complain all the time. But no, we're doing pretend journalism. Pretend journalism.
Like, she's been very, very critical of Republican stance on abortion and other cultural issues like the gay shit. And I doubt she's going to win this race in New Hampshire. And
I am absolutely not going to win this race in New Hampshire. I am 100% not going to win this race in New Hampshire. That's not the point. The point is ballot access.
a small part because she tweets like a madwoman. But there's something.
I'm polling at 8% as a libertarian, Katie. I am polling at 8% as a libertarian. The last libertarian who ran for governor, the guy who we blocked by putting me in that spot, the last libertarian who ran for governor in New Hampshire got less than 2% of the vote. I am polling currently, according to the Democrat, at 8%. So apparently, as it turns out, people in New Hampshire care more about the fact that I spent a lot of time driving around the state, meeting with them, teaching them about critical race theory and what's going on in the schools. They care more about that than they do about my tweets. You mean not everyone is obsessed with Twitter? Not everyone thinks that life happens on Twitter? When people meet you in real life, they're actually much more inclined to be endeared to you rather than just looking at your Twitter, which only 2% of the population actually uses on an active basis. Katie Herzog, Twitter journalist. Twitter journalist, not real life journalist. Twitter journalist.
Else that you need to understand about New Hampshire politics, and that's the Free State Project. Have you ever heard of this, Jesse?
This is the idea of setting up like a libertarian oasis within New Hampshire? Or am I confusing it with different libertarian schemes?
That's basically it. I mean, the Free State Project, Carlin has aligned herself with this.
No, the Free State Project is to make New Hampshire the libertarian oasis, not to set up a libertarian oasis in New Hampshire, to make New Hampshire the libertarian oasis. That is what the Free State Project is. And yes, I have absolutely unequivocally aligned myself with the Free State Project. They're fucking rad.
It's a movement to recruit libertarians to move to New Hampshire and take over the legislature. And according to their own count, they've recruited about 6,000 people to move there. Even in New Hampshire, that's not a lot. There's over 1 million people in the state, but they do have quite a bit of influence in state politics.
Yes.
This is what a New Hampshire political insider told me. Quote, "The Free State Project is achieving much of its vision in New Hampshire. New Hampshire's citizen legislature is massive. It's fairly easy to get elected into office here, and it doesn't take much to tip the scales once you're in office. There are a lot of libertarians in the New Hampshire State House, but you won't see a big L next to their name. That's by design. They know people tend to vote down ballot, so they run as Dems or Republicans. Once they're in office,
they can run as
push through
Democrats or Republicans.
libertarian-minded legislation. And they've been pretty fucking successful in recent years, to be honest. They pushed through a ton of legislation this year. Our House Majority Leader is a prominent Free Stater. Our Commissioner of Ed is big on parental freedom, etc."
I'm pretty sure the person that told her that is the same insider she had from NHPR. I'm virtually positive they're the same person. I'm going to ask her about that tomorrow. And this is no shade on her. I like her a lot. But I'm virtually positive that's the same insider. They're just pretending to have multiple sources, but I'm pretty sure it's the same person.
Now, Carlin herself has successfully advocated for some Free State Project-backed bills.
Yes,
and as
I
this
have.
person noted, quote, "Carlin's race for governor, along with Kaufman's Senate campaign, is a different beast. They're running as big L libertarians. They know they won't win. Their goal, in my opinion, is threefold. Shift the Overton window among Republican voters.
Yes.
Disrupt Republican nominees' campaigns, and
Yes.
further brand Libertarian Party of New Hampshire." It's a carrot and stick strategy.
Well, they missed one, which is pretty important, is that one of us needs to get over 4% for us to get ballot access. Ballot access is a key part of this. Like, ballot access is basically all that I really care about. I really, really hope that either me or Jeremy gets over 4% so that we can get ballot access. That's actually the primary goal. But the rest of what this person told them is very true. Jeremy's actually much more focused on shifting the Overton window than I am. I'm much more focused on ballot access. And I like advancing messaging around the schools, to be really honest with you.
So while her chances to win the governor's race are small, she does appear to have some real influence in New Hampshire state politics.
I do.
Last thing on Carlin. I spoke to a number of her critics, and I asked them if they think that her politics are genuine or if it's all about personal beefs.
So, Katie, you spoke to people who hate me, that are blatantly jealous of me, that I have a larger platform than literally all of them combined, and they said mean things about me. I know it's shocking that people who hate me have... Katie, did you bother to reach out to anyone in the New Hampshire Libertarian Party to say, why did you nominate this crazy woman for governor? Did you bother to reach out to anyone else in New Hampshire except the woman that proactively DM'd you? And I know she proactively DM'd you. You didn't DM her. She didn't even know you were doing this piece on me until I DM'd her. And I said, do you know that Katie Herzog's doing a hit piece on me? And then she DM'd you. And that's when you started talking to her. And don't front fucking otherwise. I know what the timeline of events is here. But did you reach out to any person that's actually like in the communities that I'm in? Did you reach out to any of the state legislatures the legislators that I've worked with? Did you reach out to anyone in the LPNH? Did you reach out to anyone in the Free State Project? Did you bother? No. Why would she?
One of them told me, "The libertarians will be done with her as soon as they realize who she is. The Green Party better watch out."
That was Carrie Smith. And no, the libertarians won't be done with me, Carrie. I am sorry. I know that you desperately want to turn the libertarians against me, that you have reached out. Carrie Smith, by the way, has reached out to people in New Hampshire lying about me. Directly in private conversations, has reached out to people in New Hampshire in the libertarian world lying about me. to try to turn them against me because she was pissed off that I went to PorkFest in 2021 when she also went to PorkFest because she wanted to get into the libertarian world. Of course, Katie doesn't know this because she doesn't bother to do journalism, but Carrie Smith was really pissed off when the libertarians asked me to speak at PorkFest in 2021. It was around the time I'd started getting involved with them anyway. She was really pissed that they supported me. She was really pissed that Dennis Pratt came on my show. She was really pissed when they invited me back in 2022. She was really pissed when they nominated me for governor. Carrie Smith wanted to be involved in the Libertarian Party. And then when she found out that they supported me and that I was involved, she threw a massive hissy fit, was privately messaging people all over the place, still privately message people to this day to try to get them to turn against me. And they never did. You know why they never did, Katie? Do you know why your BFF, Carrie Smith, was never able to turn the libertarians against me? Because they know me in person. And they know Carrie Smith is psychotic. And they know that what she's saying are lies. Because libertarians tend to be very autistic. And so every single time that Carrie Smith sent them something that was clipped out of context or an overt fabrication, they actually researched it on their own. And then they would message Carrie back saying, Carrie, this isn't true, or this isn't what she meant, or this isn't what she said. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Thank God we're almost done. 3 a.m. Fucking 3 a.m. Whatever. Every single time that Carrie Smith tried to do this to me, the libertarians actually investigated it. And they always came out on my side because they know me in person. And Carrie Smith is a psycho on the internet who believes in her head that I'm her abusive mother, wrote an entire fucking essay about it, who has complete derangement syndrome about me, the same way you, Katie, have derangement syndrome about Donald Trump. Carrie Smith has that to me. And they all know it because they know me in person. Yes, this is the very definition of weaponized autism. But I mean, I'm not even weaponizing anything. The libertarians are just autistic. They look into things when they're told something, and they have judged every single claim that Carrie Smith has made about me to be lacking. And I've been involved with the Libertarian Party for over a year, Katie. For over a year. So I don't think I'm getting kicked out. I am sorry. I'm sorry to disappoint you. I am sorry to disappoint Carrie Smith. I am really sorry to disappoint Kieran White because Kieran thinks he's a libertarian and he is going to be deeply and profoundly confused if he ever actually meets American libertarians and finds out they talk about sex way more than I do. Significantly more than I do. They make jokes about sex way more than I do. They may even do drugs. Woo! Imagine that. Libertarians doing drugs. Woo! All right, it's 3 a.m. I'm getting a little silly. All right, I'm getting a little silly. Let's finish this up.
What's sort of interesting about this is so the southern part of New Hampshire at this point is almost like a Boston suburb because Boston housing has gotten so expensive. There are these really quaint, pretty towns that have just enough bars, just enough restaurants that like fancy people wouldn't mind living there, or like, you know, tech workers or whatever, like Nashua, Manchester. Those are both within an hour of Boston without traffic. So there's this like part of New Hampshire that is like,
listen to this elitist douchebag say, there are certain parts of New Hampshire that fancy people don't mind living in. What an elitist asshole.
very liberal blue, that kind of New England. And then it just fucking goes north forever into like the hinterlands of just these like completely rural places. And I guess that's where like the libertarians hang out. But I can't imagine being like basically someone who chose to live in a Boston suburb, what it must be like to see what New Hampshire state politics are like. I guess
it must be awful for them. Please move back to Massachusetts where you belong. It must be awful for progressives to live in New Hampshire. Please do us all a favor. Move back to Massachusetts.
I guess from the point of view of the longtime New Hampshire people, they'd be like, "Fuck you! You're colonizing our southern border."
Yeah, I mean, and that seems to be the case. And New Hampshire is obviously an extreme example, but I think honestly, most states are like that in some respect. I mean, you have the urban
Oh, yeah.
archipelago, and then you have Washington State is absolutely like that. If you go east of the mountains, you might as well be in Idaho, or east of the Cascades. Yeah,
Yeah, Milwaukee versus like
Yeah.
more. Yeah. It's just I don't know. It's just close to home, for example, because I really southern New Hampshire is awesome. I mean, you can like afford to buy houses there and shit. But
Oh, really? Should we?
Please stay the fuck out of New Hampshire, both of you. In fact, I promise as governor that I will issue a proclamation on day 1 declaring that Jesse Signal and Katie Herzog are never allowed to move to the state of New Hampshire. And if they do, I will personally post their addresses on the internet so that libertarians will drive by their houses and do honk parades every single day of their lives until they fucking move out. That is a campaign promise. I will keep progressive fake journalists out of New Hampshire. I may even extend this to other progressive. I may fucking exile all of WMUR. I haven't decided yet. I might exile all of NHPR. I haven't decided yet. They're totally going to think I'm serious when I'm saying this. They're absolutely going to think I'm being serious at 3 a.m. responding to their bullshit live stream that had so many lies in it that it has literally taken me over 5 hours to respond to every single lie that they have told.
Move there? Oh, should
my
we join the Free
God.
State Project?
Nashua, Bar Pods,
You should
Nashua
definitely
headquarters.
not
Let's
join
do
the
it.
Free
I'm
State
ready.
Project.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Carlin's going to be mad about this, and I'm a little bit scared of her because
You're obsessed with her.
I'm obsessed with her. Yes, I will say I do think that she's a good writer. Even just in the emails that she sent me, the emails where she said that she was going to call me out. Her emails were good. She's a good writer. I'm not sure that I would vote for her.
And I should just be clear. I disagree with everything you said about Carlin. Carlin, I think you're doing a great job. I'm sorry about the Jews who chose to die in the Holocaust. They shouldn't have done that. So keep up the
They
good
shouldn't
work.
have done that.
I'm saying direct any anger about this episode. I had no role in producing it. I'm just Katie's foil.
JessieSingle.gmail.com.
I'm going to read out Katie's. I was going to read out your email address. Great minds think alike.
All right. Anything else, Jesse? Any questions?
No, I thought this was a gripping tale, and I assume there's going to be some updates. What is the gubernatorial election just in November with all the others?
I guess so. That sounds about right. They don't have a libertarian primary, but she is the candidate who has been endorsed by the state party.
Okay. I am.
Yeah, curious to see where this goes. I yes, I doubt she will win, but I wonder.
Yes, I am literally Hitler.
Carlin, all press is good press. Remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Katie, remember, all press is good press. Even when I'm debunking every single lie that you've told, and I make sure that I communicate this out to every single publication that you come into contact with ever. Actually, you know what? No, I wouldn't actually do that. Unlike Katie Herzog, I wouldn't actually try to skewer someone's career. Unlike Katie Herzog, I try to actually rein in the crazy just a little bit. But Katie, I will be making clips of all of this, specifically debunking every single one of your lies. And people will believe what they believe.